Lulz is back. Pete Overzet. Brian Hooper. We have a new study done by the Mass Gaming Commission about some interesting sports betting practices by some of these sports books. We'll dig into that. The latest and greatest from the worlds of DFS as well. Let's get to it here on Lulz.
Does he think? I think he thinks this. He thinks this is a go. Vegas Dave thinks this is a go.
Hot naked girls doing yoga.
What?
Why don't you just win like a man?
Random.org. Type in 1 for yes, 2 for no, and let the DFS gods pick for you.
And I'm absolutely begging you not to dupe us. Please don't dupe us. All right, Brick, how we doing after week 4? I'm already moving ahead.
Not bad. My home leagues could be doing better, Pete.
Are you grinding the waivers?
I don't think I've made one move.
Really?
No. Yeah, maybe I'm just myself to blame.
Yeah, I know. It was like yesterday was actually one of the first ones where I was like, because we had the 2 running backs open up with the Cardinals injuries and the Bucks injuries, so I was going in and making moves for Michael Carter and Sean Tucker, trying to resuscitate some teams as well.
Wow. Sean Tucker and Michael Carter. That's supposedly who's replacing those guys?
Yeah. Well, and Michael Carter wasn't even on the roster. Like, he's not in the underdog player pool this week because he was like not on the active roster even last week. So yeah, if you want to scroll down for Michael Carter, and it's kind of an interesting spot because they're 7.5 point home favorites versus the Titans. So you'd want the lead running back on a team like that. On DraftKings, he's 4K though. If you want to play him there.
Did you see the Mac Jones showdown pricing?
Yeah, I should pull that up. $1,000 there on FanDuel. Over on FanDuel. Yeah, how does that? I mean, I guess because the way DraftKings has now set their prices is like they basically just price up all the backup quarterbacks to a floor where there's nothing egregious, even if the starting quarterback is ruled out. But like 1,000 for Mac Jones is just like a weird glitch type of thing.
Yeah, they must have, or maybe they do that on FanDuel. Who knows? They didn't think ahead. But he played already. I don't know how they do that one.
Right, exactly. It's not like some random.
I mean, I'm a pro mistake guy though. I think it's good for DFS. I don't think super sharp pricing is good for DFS. Yeah.
And it's funny. Eli, who's in the Deposit Kingdom, and he's always running the Sims and stuff too. He was saying how it's incredible that like a few years ago, like pre-publicly available Sims, we would all say like, "Oh, Mac Jones is going to be 90% owned. You can't play him or whatever." And then he was running the Sims and stuff and saying he was getting a ton of Mac Jones even at the 1K, and just the way Sims have even reoriented how we would naturally or like reflexively say like, "Oh, that's going to be bad chalk" or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sims usually don't give you too crazy of an answer in general, but yeah, the it will screw up dupe algorithms though, for sure.
Yeah,
because a lot of them are based on remaining salary, but there's probably going to be a whole bunch of lineups with them. I don't know if it could not be, like it could work out where the salaries kind of don't leave a ton on the table, but my guess would be there'll be a lot of salary left on the table. And if you're using some sort of algorithm equation to come up with your duplicate formula for Showdown, it's going to throw a monkey wrench in that.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the interesting. And I mean, isn't again, FanDuel, Lord knows that I haven't been playing over there, although I actually have an update on that in a second. Isn't it just like a way more dupe heavy Showdown format than even DraftKings the way it is? Isn't it one less roster spot or something?
Yeah. Well, they changed this year.
Did they?
I think everything's identical to FanDuel, or it's close to it.
Or to DraftKings?
To DraftKings, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. So here's my update. I get this email. Actually, let me share my screen here. I'm not sharing my email. I'm sharing a screenshot. Let me share this screenshot of an email I get from FanDuel yesterday. They say, "Dear FF Comedy Hour _ Pete, It appears your account has been inactive for over 2 years, which means you have neither deposited nor entered a contest during that time. Fanduel, you are correct. We've recently updated our terms of use to impose a monthly inactivity fee of $2.99 for any accounts that have no play or deposit activity for a period of 24 plus months. Per our terms, we are providing you with 30 days notice prior to imposing this fee. To avoid being charged a fee, please log into your account and enter a contest or withdraw any remaining balance. They got me, Brian. This morning, I updated my password 3 different times. I hacked into my FanDuel account and I registered for a single entry tournament on FanDuel this weekend.
Well, I wouldn't be too hard on him, Pete, because you know who else has this policy, right?
Underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually got a DM from someone who was like really upset about it.
Yeah.
Too.
That was probably my mom's burner because it happened to my mom and she's been complaining to me like I own Underdog. Yeah. So this policy is pretty crazy. I don't love it.
Underdogs is $1. This one was $2.99. I was like, holy shit.
What's the rationale there? Like, feels like you get enough blowback from this that it wouldn't be worth the $2.99. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Is it a secretly like is it just like a marketing technique of like, hey, like, I'm trying to think where it's like if we just nudge you as a way to get you back on the site playing,
right?
And here's the funny thing. So I log into my FanDuel account, right? I have like $32 in my FanDuel account that just been sitting there. Just think what that could have been if I had just placed it in Bitcoin for the past 2 years, Brian. And I almost because they have a $33 single entry tournament. I actually think that was the one Davis had like a top 10 finish in last week. And I almost deposited $1 so I could play the $33 single entry tournament. And I said, what the fuck am I doing? And I just put it in like a $10 single entry or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what the thought process is here.
I know there's unclaimed property law in all states. And if you have a dormant like a bank account or anything with money where they're holding money for you and they can't get a hold of you, after 5 years, they have to turn it over to the state.
Okay.
I guess if they write into it that they're going to deduct money every month until they take it all, it seems illegal because you can't do that with gift cards anymore, at least in Illinois.
Yeah. I did just ask our dear friend, Mr. ChatGPT, and I know we live in an era where AI is often maligned and deemed untrustworthy, but they say the number one reason that this could be happening is for regulatory and compliance costs. Operators are required to maintain accounts even if they're unused. This means holding funds in trust, keeping records, and meeting financial auditing reporting rules. Dormant accounts create ongoing compliance and administrative overhead.
Right.
Would that be a satisfactory response?
Yeah, it's not worth the headache. They're probably legally, they can't invest this money either, and like get a return on it while you just sit there for years, I would guess. So it's not worth it. They'd rather just piss you off and charge you $2.99 or take the money out. I mean, I guess that's got to be it. Yeah. I mean, it is that unclaimed property law that they would have to report this income, or not income, but this money they're holding.
Yes,
so they have to do stuff.
That is the other thing. It says after a certain period of inactivity, operators must often turn over unclaimed balances to the state. It's called escheatment. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Escheatment?
No, I don't think you are.
Do you want to take a stab at it?
No, I can't remember. I should know that though.
Escheatment? It's ESCHEAT.
I know. I've read it.
People playing along at
in
home.
The law. I remember.
Yeah. This is the thing you guys don't realize when you're not broadcasters or podcasting, the amount of words that you read in your life that you never actually have to say out loud until you're reading a ChatGPT canned response.
Right. It's akin to like hearing someone say a word differently than you read it in your mind, like, that's not how I say that word.
Escheatment. Okay, there we go. Escheatment. Thank you, Chris, in the chat. Before that happens, many sites try to recover costs via fees. In practice, dormancy fees may reduce the balance until either the user returns or the remaining balance eventually gets remitted to the state.
Yes. Yeah, you turn it over to the state, and the state puts that money in an interest-bearing account. Funny enough, they won't let Fanduel do it, but they do it themselves. And then you can go to the unclaimed property site of your state, and you could search right now. You could do it right now. You could search Colorado or Massachusetts, see how much money. I guarantee you got hundreds on there, Pete. You could claim right now.
I mean, I'm shutting down this stream. I can retire. No, I've looked at those things before too. I know my wife has looked those up as well.
There's always a $50-$100 on there or something.
Yeah.
Some power company that you bill that you didn't get back from college or something.
Yeah. It is like there's something about, like, I get it. I certainly get it from that perspective. It's just like, it feels menacing the way like it's delivered. And like, it feels so unnecessarily aggressive too, where it's like these messages are going out to people largely who probably have less than $50 in their account, and probably in a lot of cases, even less than that. And it's just like, I'm trying to think like from a marketing perspective of how you could handle that with a little more tact. Of being like, I almost wonder if you could like tack on like, while you're here, we actually have a free roll contest for all of the people whose accounts are about to get banned. Would you like to enter this week's free roll or something to soften the blow? If we're going to steal, $3 from you.
I would like try to target it. I would say like you would be like one where I'd want to like keep happy, because I bet a lot of these accounts that get dinged with this are net negative for them. Like they're never coming back. They're never going to like gamble a lot. They're going to play one or two more in the rest of their life or something. And they're just costing them money. So who cares what you do?
Maybe FanDuel has just heard all of my jokes over the years about not logging on to their site, and they have no interest.
This whole policy was just based on you alone. That has nothing to do with regulation.
Yes. Yeah. It is funny too, where it's almost like, why, if they do have to deal with it too, where it's like you clearly have a bank or a PayPal or whatever tied to these accounts. That's how the money got in there in the first place. Like, why wouldn't the process be, and I know the answer to this question, but why would the process just be like giving back the money to your account and closing your account and saying, hey, we're giving you the funds back, but your account's now done.
There you go. Okay. No, yeah, that is definitely the best scenario. You send them this email and say, we are going to send the money back to the account of origin in 30 days if you don't have an active game or something played.
It would also be like, you could also say, they're like, we are going to send you one of those big checks. I would love to get a $32 Happy Gilmore style check from FanDuel.
The Publishers Clearinghouse? Yeah, do you remember the Publishers Clearinghouse, Pete?
Yes, of course.
Those poor people, they went under recently, and so all those people who got those big checks are getting screwed from the Publishers Clearinghouse. The ones that didn't take the lump sum payment.
Oh, that had it like paid out annually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
They the Publishers Clearinghouse, because it was just like a scam, basically, where they were getting some sort of affiliate deal with all the magazines.
Yeah.
To do this promotion. And then when people stopped buying magazines, there was no money to pay. And I think, and they recently got sold. Someone bought the rights to the name.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think they were responsible. I know way too much about this for some reason, but I don't think they were responsible to have to pay these poor people back. But yeah, so the people who took the annual payments are getting screwed by.
I forgot about this stuff.
10 million or 10,000?
10,000.
Why is he holding? Why is it Mrs. Cindy?
He must have been the presenter or whatever from the clearinghouse. Yeah, here's a $1 million
Rodney
one.
Small.
There. Yes. I mean, this does just look so scammy there.
Yeah, Dan, you call it. They've been rugging people long before NFTs ever came out.
That's right. All right, there you go. Good to know. So yes, FanDuel has me. Maybe I will go on a generational run. I will bank this whatever $5 or $10 tournament I entered.
Did we talk about the lump sum payment thing from the lottery that one time when the lottery was just like a month or two ago when it was so big?
I remember having, but refresh my memory. What was our?
Well, because I was under the assumption that you could take the lump sum payment, or you could do the annual.
Yeah.
And when you do the lump sum payment, it's like half or whatever.
Yes,
right?
way less.
And why is it half? Do you know why? What's like in your mind?
I would just assume that the state can invest it and make way more on interest if they pay it out annually on the lump sum that they're keeping.
But why would you get half?
Oh, well, what
you're right.
Is it that they're trying to incentivize you to not select?
So like, let's say it's 1 billion, and then you go, I want the lump sum, and the lump sum is going to be like 400 million, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? You are right, though. You are right, but why is it that you only get 400?
I assume they were. No,
I thought it was taxes,
right?
Because like you have to pay, over 50% in taxes.
Yes,
but it's not. That's not taxes. So you get 400 million and then have to pay taxes on that.
Really?
So you really get 200 million.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And and you were right on your reason though, is it's a marketing trick.
Yeah.
So there's not 1 billion. There's exactly what you said. The company can invest that money over time and pay you out longer based on the interest to eventually get you to the 1 billion. But they don't have the 1 billion.
No.
They don't have the 1 billion. And apparently though they put like a 5.5% inflation thing in there as well.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not as bad as I originally thought, but I always thought it was like, I don't know. I thought it was taxes.
Yeah.
I thought, well, yeah, because they give you the money, you got to give half of it right to the government. They're not going to let you keep all of that.
So your 1 billion in a lump sum quickly turns into about like 190 million,
something like that. Yeah.
Which
so it's double.
I wonder if there's stats on like with those big Powerballs, like the percentages over the years that like people taking the lump sum versus the annual, and I wonder if like there's been any changes in that trend.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good question. I would guess people would be more likely to take the lump sum now. That
was my guess too. Just like with more like, I don't know, fucking global instability, people are just like, give me the money now. Like I don't need like 60 years of
after the Publishers Clearinghouse story. How could you take annual payments? You never know. Company administering that might go under.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, it would be a pretty good problem to have, as Steven says. How depressing getting 190 million.
I'm not gonna kick it out of bed, that's for sure.
Yeah. You get about 35% of the top line number, not including state taxes. So there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, state and federal. Federal's the big chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you traveling last weekend, Brian?
Yeah, I went to Michigan.
Family stuff or
family stuff? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice. How was that?
Good. Michigan's beautiful. Love driving through Michigan.
Yeah. It's I need to get back there. I think I've told you my grandpa lives in Grand Rapids, and I haven't seen him for a while. He's getting way up there in his 90s. I would like to get back out there again.
Wow. Yeah, you should. Yeah, Wisconsin's pretty, Michigan's pretty, Indiana not so much, Illinois.
Yeah. April has this book right now that she's reading. It's like called Me and My Map, and like it's like showing like maps on local and then all the way up to like global scale. And the girl in the book lives in Kansas, and I'm like, of all the places to like illustrate like cool locations and monuments and things in states. It's like zooming in on Kansas. I'm like, and it literally is just like cows in the book. I'm like, you could have picked any state with way more interesting things in it.
There's another fountain. Look, there's another fountain.
Exactly.
That's all they got. They have a cool the downtown. Actually, I haven't been there in a while, but the downtown was kind of fun. They like close off like a 4th Street corner, and you could drink and walk around between the bars and stuff. Who knows if they allow it anymore?
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, we were going to talk about, so this study was getting passed around on sports betting Twitter. The Massachusetts Gaming Commission administered it. And it's kind of interesting because I remember talking about this last May when they tried to hold a roundtable meeting with all the state sportsbook operators about some of this stuff, and none of them showed up to it. But they're clearly still working to kind of figure out what's going on here. And their study that they published said the state's sportsbook are, and hold on to your seats here for this revelation, Brian, are in fact placing limits on account holders who more frequently win their bets while providing VIP status to losing bettors. Did you see that one coming?
I don't believe it. I don't believe that. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Who would have thought? I mean, it's obviously good though to get some statistics like this out there. Was it the one in Illinois we were looking at like a month or so ago where they were kind of like bending the data in a way that was like extremely favorable for
Wasn't
it
Wyoming? Was it Wyoming?
Oh, you're right. It was Wyoming. And we were trying to figure out like how many people were even there betting to get that data.
whatever it was, their conclusion was it was the bettors who were cheating. It was the bettors who were wrong.
Yeah, so they collected these in Massachusetts from the sportsbook between December 2024 and June 2025. So like a 6-month window there. The data analysis also found the limits are only being imposed on a very small percentage of sportsbook accounts. On average, only 0.64% of accounts across all operators were being limited. I mean, you're still at like 1 out of 100. Like that's what I would guess for like a truly sharp account, or whatever. Like, I don't know, that actually doesn't seem like a crazy small amount to me.
Yeah, that's a decent amount. 1 out of 100. Yeah, a little less than 100. That's actually kind of high. Now you put it that way. Yeah, you
would think if you're a sports book, like how they would much rather have 500 fish accounts to everyone than 100 to everyone.
You know why? It's probably because they're limiting too harshly. Mm-hmm. It probably should be like if they were really limiting only good bettors, like 0.25 or something.
Yeah, it then says of those limited accounts, the majority, 57.6%, received limits between 1% and 24% of the default bet amount. Another 12.7% of accounts faced the most severe limits of less than 1% of the default. While these limits may only be affecting a small percentage of accounts, the MGC still raised concerns with limits being imposed with little to no justification or notification.
I don't know if they say it in the rest of the article, but that what you just read is a little more insidious too, that they don't get into it, where they limit the person, but some they limit fully and then some they still allow. And I think the reason for that is they are still willing to gamble that you're only good at like some sports, or maybe you'll, degen and bet some, maybe there's still some juice they could squeeze out of you.
Yes.
So it's not, because why wouldn't you just go, oh, this is a sharp better, we don't want your action, you can't bet here.
Yes.
Why would you even give them, any amount? And it's probably because they have some sort of formula like, well, we might be able to squeeze a little juice out of this guy if he goes to different sports or something. Let's see what happens.
Well, what's funny is this, I do remember this being the topic from the Wyoming study in the one that these sports books are bringing it up here again. So it says, for example, some bettors employ a practice called court siding, in which they attend live sporting events and place real-time bets before a sportsbook can adjust its odds based on the most recent action in the game. That's like the popular boogeyman from the sports book of being like, this is what's happening to us. And I think we were joking about it in the Wyoming. We're like, what are they going to, the fucking rodeo and front running, like changes in live betting? And this is like the court siding is the biggest threat to fair gambling right now, according to the sports books.
Right. Yeah. It's a good one though, from their angle though, for the sports books. Cause it makes sense. You can understand it. Like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. They need to do something.
So the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, with these findings, they are trying to improve some of these regulations. These are some suggested that we could see, requiring sportsbooks to notify account holders when they have been limited, and potentially provide an explanation for the limit, although I feel like that'd be fairly obvious. You're beating us, and we don't like that. Requiring sportsbook to inform players of behaviors that could cause them to be limited, which also seems kind of funny because anyone getting limited knows probably. Requiring sportsbooks to document their processes for limiting player accounts and disclose those processes to regulators. Requiring sportsbooks to provide regular data to regulators regarding player limits, and requiring sportsbooks to manually review all limited accounts at certain intervals.
Yeah. The whole negotiating thing is, is super complicated for me. Like, because I think that's like reasonable.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the suggestions are reasonable. And like, hey, yeah, if you can do it, go for it. It's just the long-term prospects. From my experience working there, is that these things turn into commissions that are beholden to the companies and any stakeholders, and then they just negotiate directly with each other, and then some representative from an agency is there like, okay, here's some bills related to this act this year. Which ones do we like? Which ones do we hate? That's exactly what we did. Like, it would be a union representative and a couple association representatives. We'd get around a table, go, here's the 12 bills that were introduced this year that affect this legislation that we oversee. What do you guys think? And they go, we hate this, we hate this, we like this, we hate this. And then the ones they agree to, we go, okay, we're going to allow those.
Yeah.
And so like, and this is like, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years later, in the case of the legislation we were talking about, it's 100 years. And so like, even if the initial legislation is like really positive and something you'd agree with, like, you go back to your life and then you forget about it. And then 2 years later, they start changing it in their favor. So like any of these ideas is like, I mean, this is like the most toothless one, right? It's like, can you at least tell the person why? Please? Could you like notify them?
Yeah.
That's like the bare minimum, but at least it's something.
I guess this Gaming Commission guy, he had like a longer set of remarks that this account Fair Play Gov posted, and Spanky highlighted one thing he said that's not in the article we were just going through. But this is kind of interesting. He said, I loved Commissioner O'Brien's suggestion on establishing a range of highest bet and lowest bet on any given market. And so he was using like A for highest bet, B for lowest, where the ratio of AB would require a maximum value. So he gives the example, assuming AB is arbitrarily 25. If Joe Square can bet 50K on a game, then Johnny Sharp should be able to bet 2K on the same game. If you want to bump Joe up to 100K, then all Johnnies would get a similar proportional bump up to 4K. If you want to knock Johnny down to 1K, then you can't take more than 25K from Joe. This would ensure Commissioner Skinner's desire of establishing, in her words, a fundamental fairness where any attempt to aggressively bankrupt a Square player will need to be met with abating the banning of other players, and any attempt on severely banning a Sharp player will need to be met with bankrupting the Square player a little slower, which is kind of like, we talk about the like double standard of, kind of the stuff with problem gambling too, and how it's like double-sided, like something where it is proportional, where it's like, oh yeah, if you're putting this in, it needs to affect both sides of the coin and not just the side that's favorable for your bottom line.
Yeah. I mean, fine, I guess this one's okay. It's kind of interesting seeing the syndicate people weigh in on stuff. It's interesting that the sports books rarely bring up the syndicate topic. Where if I was a sportsbook exec, I can't imagine that wouldn't be like the number one, public enemy number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I said, like ETR's props forum. Like how much is, maybe that's hundreds of thousands or something over the year, maybe, but syndicates is millions and millions. Like they're the major problem. I can't imagine, and like even leaving ETR aside, I can't imagine some singled guy who's just sharp working by himself that there's that many of them that'll cause a problem where they have to do this and then this would solve their. To me, I would guess the syndicates are their biggest money drain, not Johnny, or whoever the Sharp's name is, Johnny Sharp. Yeah. So I don't know, like, because like for him, none of this matters, right? Because he's using other people's accounts that are either primed or maybe they're fresh, or he's betting on credit with, I mean, I don't know. I think they're banning Johnny because of him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you that should stop betting for Johnny's benefit and let the, originator guy who's working from his basement, last a little longer or something. But like, I mean, I guess anything, like I said, anything that's beneficial to bettors would be great. So sure, like whatever. If this is good for bettors, great, let's do it. I'm not holding my breath though on how long any of these negotiations last in the positive direction.
Yep. Cash Roll says, do people get limited if they win but don't beat the closing line? I would assume that these sportsbook have a few different metrics that they're looking at to identify sharp accounts, but that closing line is just one of the easiest ones for them to flag. But there have to be other things. I would assume stuff like in niche sports, like if you're repeatedly beating them on like a really niche sport or a prop, like a derivatives market over and over again, like I assume that kind of stuff would get their antennas going as well.
Yeah, I bet if some guy, an individual's beating NFL sides 5 minutes before kickoff for a couple months, they are not banning that guy, especially if the line's going the other way. But if you're arbing all the time and using like one of the odds providers, like Odds Jam or whatever, and not betting any meat and potatoes stuff, I'm sure. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the sports betting podcasts, the good ones out there, they have guys on who talk about like what seems to get. They're kind of coy. They don't want you to know everything because the bottom line. But you could figure out what gets you banned. But I don't think it's raw dollars.
Did you end up listening to the podcast, The Risk of Ruin, the episode about trial and error?
Yeah, I think I actually did listen to it. When you mentioned, because I had the wrong podcast in my head, but I was driving and like not paying attention. I think I listened to it on the way to Michigan. Yeah,
well, there was one of the stories in there that I just thought of. By the way, it's an awesome podcast by John Reeder. It's like NPR style production. Generally focuses on a single topic or a single guest, but just really well produced. Highly recommend it, and it's all about gambling. He describes it audio documentaries about risk takers. Not all of them are about sports betting, but there's a lot advantage play and stuff too. But anyways, in this most recent one of the stories he talks about this sports bettor Thomas, they figured out at the sports books basically what would trigger the VIP programs. Like they kind of knew the cadence of like bets that they had to make to then get into the VIP stuff. And he was telling the story of like how they would do it. And it was basically like betting this huge chunk on like a bunch of the 1 p.m. games, doubling down on the 4 p.m. games, and then doubling down again on the Sunday night football game. So it basically looks like a whale's just like on tilt, just like I'm blasting off on this day of Sunday action. But the way the VIP program worked, they would then get an additional deposit bonus in some like other free bets to the point they were actually rooting for their initial bets to lose, because the EV of getting into the VIP program and triggering those other things was worth more than even like a $25,000 unit on all of these games. And he said it was like the weirdest thing where they're like rooting for their bets to lose. And then sure enough, like here comes the text, here comes the email. Hey, we would love to get you a deposit match. And then they'd like hem and haw and they'd be like, how much would you let us do it up to? And then they would get like a $500,000 deposit with a huge deposit match. And then they were like, boom, the account's primed and we're off to the races here.
That's funny. And was this a syndicate?
Yes. Yeah. They were doing everything.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's that is so much more than Johnny Sharp and his R studio package on his computer in his basement. There's so much more money that they're going to lose. There's also the idea of like, you know, wrong and right and morality going on here too, which is obvious. Like, maybe that's where it should be focused on, like just the advertising. Like you're not allowed to advertise like, hey, come here and be a winner when you're limiting people. Because if this was like a completely open and free market, like any business you see on your local, you know, downtown area, I think they should have the right to kick out customers. It's their company. But since it's so heavily regulated, and we talked about it on the last show, it's like starting your own cell phone company, you know, the Mr. Show bit. It's like starting your own casino. It's like, yeah, Pete, let's start our own casino. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to happen because it's such a regulatory hurdle for 99% of the population. They don't even dream of starting these companies. And that puts them in a different ballpark of your mom and pop shop that should just be left alone. So, I mean, I'm kind of fine, generally speaking, regulating them. But like, I think at least something that might stick would be banning advertising, banning the idea that they're allowing winning. Like, okay, fine. If you're going to limit everybody, fine. But you can't go along and have these advertisements of all these big winners and stuff if you're just going to ban them if they win.
Not to mention that's like the most insidious part of all of this are, you know, kids who are seeing these advertisements and, you know, being conditioned over and over again to think like, oh, this is how I don't have to work. Like I can go be a winner being a sports bettor or what, you know, whatever it is. Like the advertisements are what get their hooks in impressionable people, which is generally going to be young kids who are seeing these on big broadcasts.
Sure. I mean, yeah. And there's an argument. Maybe it shouldn't be allowed at all if it's that bad for society. Who knows? Which I'm not like totally against. Maybe it is. But like it is, what is this? Who's listed sports?
Well, so I had just seen then it was like right a day after, like the same day as this Massachusetts Gaming Commission study. It says a New York Assemblyman, Alex Borres, has introduced a bill that would prevent sportsbook from limiting or banning winning players. So this is clearly a topic going around here.
It's interesting. Who is that legislator? A lot of times, it's legislators who have like no influence in power, and they're just introducing a bill that'll give them a splash. And especially if they've taken no money from these books, like doesn't cost them anything. Then they don't plan on it in the future. But yeah, I mean, you see all sorts of bills introduced that sound good, that are DOA, and everyone who works there knows it, including the person introducing it.
Mm-hmm. So then what do they get out of it? It's just like tossing their constituents a bone.
Yeah,
like,
that's
hey,
one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Someone comes into your local office, hey, I got limited and I don't, what am I supposed to do? And then especially if you really bother them or you have some relationship with them, 90% of the time they know somebody who knows somebody or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so you introduce a bill, even though it has no shot, and you go, hey, I introduced this bill. It's not any work for the legislator. They have somebody else write it up. They don't know how to write law, like 95% of them. And then you send it into the Legislative Reference Bureau. They check it all and stuff, and it gets you introduced. It doesn't take any time.
Yep. Yeah. And then this was like, then this whole back and forth where it's basically like, oh, if you do this kind of stuff, then we're going to implement the per pet tax charge. That was the thing we were talking about in Illinois, the charging their customers 50 cents per wager. We've talked about that on the show. All of these studies that we've referenced here, Wyoming regulators, meanwhile, have downplayed concerns saying fewer than 1% of accounts were limited in that state, and that most cases involve suspected cheating or bonus abuse rather than simply winning too often.
Yes. It's the players who are the criminals.
Yes.
They're the ones taking advantage of what did that say right above that?
The New York isn't
the 50 cent thing. I love the, the commissions, right? And all the articles and the back and forth and the tweeting and the billing, and all this stuff over limiting. But when it comes to fucking charging you 50 cents a bet, like that shit gets introduced and passed, right? Like we don't need a commission on that. We're just gonna fucking roll that through. And then the city of Chicago's like, hell, that's not a bad idea. Let's do one ourselves. Another 50 cents on top of that. They don't, that doesn't need discussion, right? That's why it's a dog and pony show, right? It's the democracy that you were taught in 8th grade on one hand, and that they wave in front of your face, and then they just do whatever the fuck they want when it really matters. And then we'll just charge like 50 cents a bet is way more intrusive than 0.6% of people getting limited.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't.
Yeah. We were already talking about that. Like there's lots of people who are low volume bettors. Like, you do a $5 thing and you're paying a 50 cent tax on that.
Right. 99.3, whatever, percent of people didn't get limited, but they all got to pay 50 cents in Illinois.
It would be, almost like the lottery thing with just like, if you wanted to fish out who is actually addicted to gambling, it'd be like, do like a day where it was going to be like the hold was like 70% on the bet, like seeing who still bets it, just because they like it just like would be the ultimate, like, do you understand math and numbers? And it's just like, but I still need the sweat, even though I'm literally losing money on this bet, no matter what happens.
If you bet 25 cent minus 110 and win, you owe them money.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
Because you only get 48 cents.
But the sweat equity is worth way more than that.
I won. You post it. I won and still lost 2 cents. Still had to pay.
Dirty says, I want to see the percentage of betting volume that got limited, measured monthly or whatever. Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, right. Volume. Yes, yeah. It's 0.64 of total user accounts, and as we've seen from Pete's Fanduel account, a lot of them aren't even betting at all.
It was so funny when I logged in this morning. I was like, oh, they've redone the interface since I was last in here, and I was like, oh yeah.
Was it a pain in the ass for you to get in? Like you have to. For me, it forces you to go to the sports book first.
Yes,
like always. And I'm like, I'm trying to go to the fantasy.
Then I accidentally clicked racing from the menu. So then I'm betting on the ponies for a quick sec. And then I finally found my way over to fantasy.
Yeah, they're really a lot of scammy stuff going on here. Listen, I would love, though. I know I'm so cynical about this stuff just from years of working there. I would love if somebody came in and actually was like, hey, fuck you. You're not doing this anymore, and then put some limits actually, or ratios, ban some of the cheap marketing. That would be fantastic. And had something in the legislation making it stick. I don't think it's possible, but that would be absolutely fantastic. But
I was thinking about that the other day, and I think we talked about it too with like the bigger bill on that included the provision for the gambling tax and stuff, and we're just like, the bigger fish to fry in the amount of energy it would take from someone, and then like you're putting all that energy into this, and then you're like looking around and being like, the amount of other more important things I could be putting my energy into, it just like doesn't seem like it would ever line up for change, where someone would make it their life's mission, who was actually influential enough, who had enough money, who had enough connections. It's like, how did it just like doesn't seem like it would ever exist.
That's a great example of why everything's so broken, Pete. Is the consequences of incentives are misaligned.
Yeah.
It's because the old examples like the soybean industry. It's like, why do we have soybean subsidies? Like, no one gives a shit about soybeans, but the soybean industry really does. And they're there all the time and they're working it all the time. But us collectively don't even think about it or care. So the soybean subsidies will continue. and we will have no incentive to organize to change that, where they have plenty of incentive to continue to do it and continue to pump that out. And so like that's why it's never really going to change. I mean, the world's a little different now because there's shows like this. You can actually contact and annoy your legislators through social media and stuff fairly easily.
Do you think it's also because, like, you know, you take your example of like the soybean stuff, and I don't know, like these legacy companies and like existing businesses, and they're literally like, we're sitting on a cash cow. We don't have anything else to pivot to. Like, we got to make this work kind of thing. So let's invest in the lobbying, the organizing. Whereas like the people who are on the bad end of this sports betting legislation are advantage players. They're smart people. They are kind of like entrepreneurial in spirit. And they just say, when this opportunity dries up, I will find the next thing to exploit. I will find the next game to beat. I wonder if there's an element of that where it's like, I'm not going to put all the work into this one thing. Guess what? I'll find another thing that I can find the loopholes, the cracks, and make a living doing.
And so by just making this barriers here, you're just limiting the amount of people who can beat the game to go do something else, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying like the people who will be most affected by this will just find the next thing. They'll go and get in the meme coin streets, or they'll find other opportunities in a way where it's just not worth the organizational effort and all of that stuff to make a living this one specific way that they first started.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another aspect of why this whole situation is so weird. Like if you made your living like off of like the local grocery store because they mispriced their apples or something. It's like, I don't know. That's kind of weird. Like, I guess, yeah, you can buy those apples and then sell them or something, you know, but, and like, this doesn't take a ton of effort, you know, physical labor anyways. It's weird, but then there's also like tons of companies that are built on the backs of other companies, you know, like the movie industry. The movie, you know, Hollywood doesn't do everything. Like other companies make toys based off of their movies and blah, blah, blah. And so like making you know, a subsidy or a subsidiary, whatever industry based on these main industries, I don't know how much responsibility they have to them really. But the gambling one is really weird. It's not a, you know, symbiotic relationship. It's almost like parasitic on everyone involved, from the pro to the state to the company itself. Mm-hmm. Which maybe that's why it should be banned.
Yeah.
Except DFS. Come on, let's let the bros have a little fun. Play a little DFS.
Just let the bros play some DFS.
Nobody's getting banned for being good in DFS. Not yet. Actually, they did try to do that in Yahoo about 3 years ago. Remember? Whatever happened to that? I thought that was going to be the end.
What remind me what happened again?
Banned Rinpack, I think. I don't know if he watches the show anymore.
Outright banned his account?
I think so. Yeah, I can't imagine he's in chat, but he could explain it more. There was a couple like pro players who started getting banned on Yahoo 3 years ago or something. I don't know. And I was crushing that site back then.
I remember that's all you were playing.
I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. So they're gonna get me. If they got him, they're gonna get me. And they never did. So I think they got pushed back.
Justification was for that?
I don't remember. It might have been more than 3 years ago. You would look into
because it doesn't make sense, right? In the DFS context, like if anything, the whales, it's like you're going to take your rake no matter what. The whales are the ones helping you fill your GPPs.
it's the same thing with Poker Stars, though. Remember Poker Stars towards the end, or I guess, well, after the end, they started getting rid of rakeback programs and getting rid of rewards, and they were being like antagonistic towards good players because the good players siphon off the bad player cash too quickly. They would love it if it was like Party Poker circa 2003 and everyone just sucked because they're just filtering money back and forth and lasting for months. So there is that aspect to it.
Yeah. Speaking of DFS, any other updates from the world of Run the Sims? In our group chat, Yuta sent me over. He had touted the Penix double stacks on the show, and then he sent me it's just so funny, like the level that Yuta plays at, like it's so just casual how he just sends over a screenshot for a first place $250,000 win. Like he sends over a $250,000 screenshot like I would send a $5,000 screenshot.
Right.
Like, dude, I took down this single entry tournament. Check this out.
Yeah.
That was
him and Nerdy Tenor, aka Moneybags Hutchings, taking all the money, leaving. Speaking of why you should get rid of the top players, just taking all the money. 102. Look at that.
This was a great follow-up tweet. On top of it all, I have a 50% advance rate in DK Best Ball. Seriously, how lucky can you get, Nerdy, on 2 entries here?
Hard to beat that. Look at look at that. Look at how variant Best Ball is. 60 point. Oh, is that PMR? I thought that was fantasy.
No, but still fantasy points. 507.48, 387.18. There you go.
Yeah.
It seems like he diversified his portfolio. He treated himself to a celebratory beer in his hotel there.
That's fancy.
There you go. Who is it? Just Yuta for tomorrow? Have we figured that out?
We haven't figured that out. It's up to you guys if it's going well, which it looks like. Maybe we run it back. Yeah.
No, it's I think we found our groove. I actually just got I got some of the new overlays made, so we got a little topics bar to help keep us on topic. And I think hitting the stride. We had to kind of find our lane there for figuring out what that show structure and stuff was going to look like.
Seems like the views, you're holding your numbers pretty solid.
Yeah. That is the nice thing about DFS. Like, obviously everything goes down as the season progresses, but I think, and it makes sense, right? That like the drop off for season long stuff is steeper than for DFS stuff. It can hold a little better week over week.
Which season long does?
Yeah, because people start like once you're 2-4 or 1-5,
you're
just like, fuck, I'm not watching like strategy. I just don't care anymore. At least with DFS, there's like hope each week of like, no, this is the week I think.
For sure. Yeah. I thought you were saying the other way, but I totally agree. Yeah. Season long really is only like a 2-3 month long thing.
Yeah. It really is
2-3 weeks before the season starts.
Yep. Yeah. And then, you throw in the towel, you're demoralized. You do a few Hail Marys, you'll get a few of those trade questions like, hey, I'm 1-5. Should I trade these 3 guys for this? And then after that, it's just like, all right, I'm checked out.
The trade doesn't work at all. They never go back to your show again.
It is. I do think like with fantasy though, and even I think it was Sacrilegious. I heard him talking on a show too about even the way best ball's growing, and he had some stats on the amount of 150 maxers year over year. And it's like the people who are in fantasy, like, we're converting more people who are becoming obsessed. And like you're seeing the growth in Dynasty, obviously best ball. I don't know how much of that is trickling over into DFS specifically, but that is the progression of being obsessed, right? Like when you play best ball Dynasty and then I don't know, that was the trajectory I went down. And then DFS is kind of like the last thing that gets your hooks in you. So I don't know if fantasy continues to grow at this crazy rate, which it seems like it is. Hopefully that'll trickle down to DFS as well.
Yeah. Speaking of regulation, if we're just going to wish for things, like just make it ban it all except the skill games where it's peer-to-peer betting, peer-to-peer best ball, peer-to-peer DFS, poker. which is
Yeah.
still illegal in most states. Again,
Yep.
another reason why it's a dog and pony show. Why is that illegal?
Yeah.
Why is that illegal? But the iCasinos, the iCasinos are got to get those in before poker. Of course, that's the moral thing to do.
Should we see how much Mac Jones is showing up?
Yeah, because someone was
in
saying
this-
that this wasn't working, and then I tried it, and it worked fine for me. You gotta click run, Pete.
No, I know. I was gonna just see here. We can
Do lower the simulations just so it's fast.
Yeah. Let's do a 3K field size here. For people just tuning in, Mac Jones is priced at $1,000 on FanDuel tonight. So if you want to see if you can catch any hand builders who aren't scrolling all the way down to find Mac Jones, this will be interesting to see how many Mac Jones lineups are showing up here on Run the Sims. Like I said, yeah.
In DraftKings, I did one before we started. It was 36% in flex. Let's see what it is. 75.
Yep.
Or no, 91 in the top 100, 91% in flex, 7% cap. So it likes it in flex. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's funny.
You play them 100% of the time.
This theory actually makes way more sense because Nerdy says they think they meant it to be 10K. What's the opposite of fat fingering, thin fingering? Where someone forgot, but then it implies like these are being manually inputted. Like,
is there like the delete button near the enter button? Maybe on some keyboards. I don't know. That's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah. Was 10 cents? Is 10 cents or 10,000 would be perfect? Actually, wouldn't it?
It would be. Yeah. That like you look at the other prices in here. Stafford's 11.8K. Mac Jones at 10K.
What is
that checks out.
This is my no ball Stetson, right? Or who is the backup QB for?
Please
Rams?
don't say Tyson Bagent again, but we did just hit our quota.
It's like Stenson or Stetson the third, right?
Yeah.
Go to the QB there.
He's not going to show up.
No,
You're
he'd be in the inputs tab.
I thought you were talking about the siege build. You guys have a siege setting that forces in the backup quarterbacks here. Mac Jones, Brock Purdy. Yeah, there you go. Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Stetson Bennett the fourth.
Stetson Bennett the fourth.
Yeah. So there you go. Optimal results. Mac Jones, top 150, flex exposure 91.3%.
What was his salary though? What was Garoppolo's salary? Just out of curiosity, go back to that.
Garoppolo's salary is 1,000 as well.
Okay, so that wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
What is Purdy's going to be high.
Purdy's the 11.2K.
Yeah. Huh.
So they want to price it for the sieges of the world who are like, what if the quarterback gets injured and comes in for
I'm all for it. I am all for it. I don't get the hate for bad pricing. I think it makes it fun. It gives it's fun lottery aspect of like, oh, there's an edge. I know there's an edge. I'm smart. I want to play.
Yeah. I don't think it's hate. I think it's more just like he. This is funny. This is an interesting.
Oh, right. Wrinkle. Like look how dumb they are type of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Top lineup tonight. Here you go. If you want the EV lineup, I'm going to give it away. Mac Jones MVP, exploit the loophole. CMC, Devonta Adams, Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua. This one is expected to be duped 17 times. I'll take the higher on that after we just shared.
Well, that was in a small field. You put it on, but whatever you put it on, like 3K or whatever. The Mac Jones at captain though. I think that might be higher
than because people use them in flex.
Yeah. I don't know what we have it at. So that might change things.
And the second lineup is also a Mac Jones. But almost all of these highest EV lineups have Mac Jones in them.
So if you look at the salaries, that's funny. That first salary is almost 60,000, but everything else, a lot of salary being left on the table. Yeah. So that will screw up those dupes for sure. But yeah, if you're that lineup is gonna be duped a ton if it's if it just fits in the chalk with Mac Jones again.
Exactly.
It's
It looks
good.
like the best plays to me. Looks like all the best plays you'd want there. So Mac Jones, the key, the skeleton key to this slate. But yeah, if you want more Run the Sims action, we'll be back with the Bully the Sims show tomorrow on my channel. We do the Block Party show with Jam to Win, followed by Bully the Sims with Yuta and Co. Looking forward to that. Anything else to mention here, Brian?
No, hopefully we'll have a big update soon on this. We're working in the background on nothing yet.
All righty. Looking forward to that. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the chat. And if you haven't logged into Fanduel for 2 years, you can join me. I think I'm in the $10 single entry. We're going to ship it. It's going to be the greatest story in DFS. How they tried to shut down my account, and I went on to take them for $1 million. Can't wait. They're going to have to go Rin pack on my ass after the run I'm about to go on. All right.
Banned from FanDuel. That'll be the title.
Dude, that video would slap. Banned from FanDuel for winning the $1 million.
Too good. Too good at fantasy football? Question mark.
They thought they had me dead to rights, ready to cancel my account. Next thing you knew, I was winning the FanDuel Millie. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.